By Robert Browning. Childe Roland to the dark tower came. My first thought was he lied in every word, that hoary cripple with malicious eye, askance to watch the working of his lie on mine, and mouth scarce able to afford suppression of the glee that first been scored, its edge at one more victim gained thereby. What else should he be set for with his staff? What save to waylay with his lies and snare all travellers who might find him posted there, and ask the road? I guessed what skull-like laugh would break, would crutch skin write my epitaph, for pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. If at his counsel I should turn aside into that ominous track which all agree hides the dark tower, it acquiescingly I did turn as he pointed, neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end described, so much as gladness that some end might be. For, what with my whole world-wide wandering, what with my search drawn out through years my hope, dwindled into a ghost not fit to cope with that obstreperous joy success would bring. I hardly tried now to rebuke the spring my heart made finding failure in its scope. So on I went. I think I never saw such starved ignoble nature nothing throw. For flowers as well expect a cedar grove, but cockles spurge according to their law. Might propagate their kind, with none to well. You'd think a burr had been a treasure trove. No, penury, inertness, and grimace. In some strange sort where the land's portion see or shut your eyes, said nature peevishly. It nothing skills, I cannot help my cause. 'Tis the last judgment's fire must cure this place, calcine its clods, and set my prisoners free. If there pushed any ragged thistle stalk, above its mates the head was chopped, the fence were jealous else what made those holes, and rents in the dock's harsh swarth leaves bruised as to balk all hope of greenness. 'Tis a brute must walk, pashing their life out with a brute's intent. As for the grass, it grew as scant as hair. In leprosy thin dry blades pricked the mud, which underneath looked kneaded up with blood. One stiff blind horse, his every bone a stare, stood stupefied. However he came there, thrust a past service from the devil's stud. Alive? He might be dead, for aught I know, with that red gaunt and calloused neck astrain, and shut eyes underneath the rusty mane. Seldom went such grotesqueness with such woe. I never saw a brute I hated so. He must be wicked to deserve such pain. So petty, yet so spiteful all along. Low, scrubby alders kneeled down over it. Drenched willows flung them headlong in a fit of mute despair, a suicidal throng. The river which had done them all the wrong, whatever that was, rolled by, deterred no whit. Which while I forded, good saints, how I feared to set my foot upon a dead man's cheek. Each step or feel the spear I thrust to seek for hollows tangled in his hair or beard. But may have been a water rat I speared, but ugh! It sounded like a baby's shriek. Glad was I when I reached the other brink. Now for a better country, vain presage. Who were the strugglers? What war did they wage? Whose savage trample could thus pad the dank, pistol a plash, toads in a poisoned tank, or wildcats in a red-hot cage? The fight must have been the fight must so have seemed in that fell cirque. What penned them there, with all the plain to choose? No footprint leading to the horrid mews. None out of it mad Bruges set to work Their brains, no doubt, like galley slaves the Turk, pits for his pastime Christians against Jews. And more than that, a furlong on, why there? What bad use was the engine for, that wheel or brake? Not wheel, not that harrow fit to reel men's bodies out like silk, with all the air of Tophet's tool on earth left unaware, or brought to sharpen its rusty teeth of steel. Then came a bit of stubbed ground once a wood, next a marsh it would seem, and now mere earth, desperate and done with. So a fool finds mirth, makes a thing, and then mars it till his mood changes, and then off he goes, within a rude bog, clay and rubble, sand, and stark black dirt. Now blotches rankling colored, gay and grim, now patches where some leanness of the soils broke into moss or substances like boils, then came some palsy, a cleft in him, like a distorted mouth that splits its rim, gaping at death and dies while it recoils. And just as far as ever from the end, not in the distance but the evening knot, to point my footsteps further at the thought a great black bird, Apollyon's bosom friend, sailed past, nor beat his wide wing, dragon penned, that brushed my cap, perchance the guide I sought. For looking up, aware I somehow grew, spite of the dusk. The plain had given place all around to mountains with such a name, to grace. Mere ugly heights and heaps now stolen in view. How thus they had surprised me. Solve it, you. How to get from them was no clearer case. Yet half I seemed to recognize some trick of mischief happened to me, God knows when, in a bad dream, perhaps. Here ended then progress, this way, when in the very nick of giving up one time more came a click, as when a trap shuts, you're inside the den. Burningly it came on me all at once. This was the place, those two hills on the right, crouched like two bulls locked horn in fight, while to the left a tall scalped mountain. Dunce, dotard a dozing at the very nonce, after a life spent training for the sight. What in the midst lay but the tower itself, the round squat turret, blind as the fool's heart, built of brown stone without a counterpart in the whole world. The tempest mocking elf points to the shipman, thus the unseen shelf he strikes on only when the timbers start. Not see, because of night perhaps? Why, day came back again for that, before it left the dying sunset, kindled through a cleft. The hills like giants at a hunting lay, gin upon hand to see the game at bay, now stab and end the creature to the heft. Not here, when noise was everywhere, it tolled increasing like a bell, named in my ears of all the lost adventurers my peers, how such a one was strong and such was bold, and such was fortunate, yet each of old, lost, one moment knelled the woe of years. There they stood, ranked along the hillsides, met to view the last of me, a living frame. For one more picture in a sheet of flame I saw them, and I knew them all, and yet, dauntless the slug horn to my lips I set and blew, Childe Roland to the dark tower came.